2019 Bugatti Chiron Coupe Review. The Bugatti Chiron may be the replacement for your Veyron, an automobile that moved the supercar goalposts until now they were from the pitch and halfway on the tunnel. But since the Veyron appeared back 2005, other manufacturers have closed the performance and price gap, producing cars much like the Porsche 918 Spider, Ferrari LaFerrari and McLaren P1. Bugatti, due to its part, claims it's no rivals, and keep it like that. The Chiron is really a lot faster and much more powerful compared to the Veyron. The concept is analogous, though. Where Porsche, Ferrari and McLaren's halo cars are incredibly definitely inspired from the racetrack, the Bugatti includes a uniquely luxurious slant. Unrivaled quality. Bugatti's no plastic policy ensures that everything you see and touch inside interior is either leather, metal or carbon fiber. The tire is milled at a solid aluminium billet, leading Bugatti badges made of real silver as well as the 4 tweeters through the Ecotone stereo audio feature real diamonds. The Chiron bears a transparent resemblance towards the Veyron inside the styling of that bodywork, whose sweeping C-shaped side panel is claimed to become the largest single carbon fiber panel on any production car. That C-shape is echoed within the cabin to make a sense of separation between driver and passenger. The Chiron also features several active aerodynamic devices which help the car switch from high to low drag configurations, similar to an F1 car, based on whether the driver really wants to prioritize cornering power or straight line speed. Unmatched performance, but no hybrid technology. Under the carbon skin lies an evolution with the Veyron's 8.0-litre quad-turbocharged W16 engine driving all 4 wheels though a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. Moreover, a decade on looking at the launch, the Veyron's 1001 horsepower still sounds outrageous, and Bugatti later boosted that 200 horsepower to the Super Sport. But the Chiron adds another 300 horsepower to even that, for any total of a single 500 horsepower, and that is backed up by 1,600 Newton-meters of torque, pulling power. Unlike recent hypercars from Porsche, Ferrari, McLaren and Sweden's Monegasque, the Chiron isn't going to feature any hybrid element to its powertrain design. That means it's got no zero-emission city mode much like the P1, and is not capable to deliver the instant response of LaFerrari. But it is always faster than both, reaching 62 miles per hour inside of 2.5 seconds, and 186 miles per hour within 13.6 seconds. The top speed is electronically tied to 261 miles per hour, although a Bugatti test driver attempted to top 280 miles per hour inside an unrestricted car using a German test track in 2019. The fastest car from the world. Electronically limited by 261 miles per hour, some turbo lag, disappointing noise. There just isn't another production car on the globe that will keep pace that has Bugatti Chiron, either coming from a standing start, or flat out within the Autobahn. A 1,995 kilograms curb weight sounds closer for the SUV than supercar class. Nevertheless, the Bugatti's 1,500 horsepower 8.0-litre W16 engine overcomes it to produce some astonishing performance figures. And daft as it can certainly sound, both either 5 seconds 0 to 62 miles per hour time could be the least impressive of these, because then the Chiron is merely just entering into its stride. Find the space to legally stretch the Bugatti's legs and it'll reach 124 miles per hour. 200 kilometers per hour, in 6.5 seconds. That is about the time it takes for any good hot hatch to obtain half that speed. Then things get really silly. From rest to 186 miles per hour, 300 kilometers per hour, occupies only 13.6 seconds and, given enough room, the Chiron will ultimately run into searching for limiter at 261 miles per hour, but only when you've inserted your second key down with the driver's sill to active the lower drag mode. Without the other key inserted, the Chiron is restricted to 236 miles per hour at some point in 2019. Bugatti attempt a top speed run with no speed limiter in any respect, and hopes to accomplish 280 miles per hour, breathtakingly fast with massive traction. Despite arranging some turbochargers in the future on stream in pairs instead of all at once to increase response, there's some turbo lag, the momentary pause between pressing the accelerator and becoming a response. But the enormous 1,600 Newton-meters of torque to be had is delivered over the wide range, and beyond 4,000 ppm, the acceleration is punishingly vicious. The biggest shock, as soon as the wallop within the back when you placed your foot down, is the Bugatti deploys its performance with little fuss. Traction is great, and also at 200 miles per hour, the Chiron feels absolutely planted, with no trace of vibration from the controls. Unfortunately, the soundtrack is similarly subdued. There's more growl included with the turbo whine on this occasion, but other hypercars will be more exciting to listen for. More involving as opposed to Veyron. Enormous speed and stability. Easy they are driving, tricky to park. Unlike Ferrari and McLaren, Bugatti can't make claims of racetrack prowess for the hypercar. Going fast in the straight line will be the Chiron's major selling feature, but that isn't to mention it doesn't like corners. It will not be as agile or playful being a Ferrari 488 GTB, however the Chiron is really very competent on the twisty road, plus much more involving compared to Veyron ever was. At 1,995 kilograms, the Chiron is extremely heavy in hypercar terms, but that mass is well controlled through the new adaptive dampers, which give a superb blend of ride security in town, body control through corners, and stability over fast and straight, but undulating, roads. Adaptive suspension is effective. A rotary dial about the lower left of the tire lets you make a choice from an automatic mode, labeled EB, with the founder, a Tour Bugatti, handling mode, that makes the steering heavier plus the suspension firmer, and Autobahn mode, which lowers the vehicle, but keeps the suspension supple. Predictably, handling mode feels one of the most dynamic, however the steering feels just a little heavy. In EB mode, the steering feels lighter, meaning your vehicle itself feels lighter, but it really retains exactly the same excellent precision and gearing that's far more relaxing when compared to a Ferrari super quick steering setup. Amazingly easy they are driving. In fact, the Chiron isn't only extremely fast from examine point, it's also really easy they are driving quickly or slowly, and takes insufficient time to get employed to. Anyone could start and feel at your home within less compared to a minute, which isn't something you might say about all kinds of other supercars. Parking, however, is often a different matter. A fourth setting on the tire rotary controller increases the nose to negotiate speed bumps, and there's a rear view camera for reversing. But the screen, located to inside the instrument binnacle for the right from the speedo, is small along with the turning circle is big. 310 miles per hour speedometer. Distractions reduced as you go faster. Incredible awareness of detail. 3 things strike you when first climbing into your Chiron. The first would be the gigantic speedometer, which watches right round to 310 miles per hour. It's an analog gauge, as opposed to digital, Bugatti reasoning that when a young child been able to peer throughout the window of an auto that was parked with all the engine off, they'd still be capable of watch that incredible final measurement. The next thing you notice is the fact unlike just about any even moderately expensive car, there may be no screen from the center console. There are 2 small screens either side in the speedometer which could display trip, audio and navigation details, but they'll seem disappointingly modest to tech-loving drivers. Bugatti, sensibly, prefer to keep the eyes focused for the job available when driving your 1,500 horsepower supercar, and has now even configured the instrument cluster to pair back on information displayed as the speeds increase, providing you with only key details like speed and engine revs. Not probably the most intuitive controls, but immense quality. The center console itself is where you can 4 rotary dials, which primarily control the warming, but could also be used for other functions, like monitoring the vehicle's performance, though this multitask setup could possibly want some learning. The third thing that strikes could be the incredible focus to detail. The quality in the components is superb, and bar an appearance around the seatbelt clasp, it's difficult to acquire a trace of plastic anywhere. Everything you can easily see and touch appears for being made from leather, aluminium or carbon fiber. The tire, by way of example, is milled from huge aluminium billet. Other circumstances to note include excellent forward visibility because of slim windscreen pillars, and less than excellent rear visibility, the vista bisected from the strange central cabin divider running head to feet, plus the large spoiler with the tail. Extreme luxury reaches to refinement. Astonishing ride comfort for just a 261 miles per hour car. No other hypercar matches it here. The Chiron is exclusive among extreme supercars for focusing the maximum amount of on luxury and refinement since it does on performance. And despite the 20-inch front and 21-inch rear tires and also the mammoth engine behind your brain, the cabin is indeed quiet that even beyond 150 miles per hour, you don't ought to raise your voice to get heard. The ride comfort can be excellent, particularly considering this car is engineered to rock solid at almost 300 miles per hour, smoothing always surface imperfections and gliding over cobbled streets greater than some hot hatches. Factor inside excellent seat comfort, and you've got the makings of a very relaxed high-speed express. While some rivals may be fun for 15 minutes, the Bugatti is watchy to tackle entire continents. Our final point is definitely an unusual someone to find within a section that normally extols the virtues of comfort and refinement. We can't help believing that people buy supercars to the excitement, which the Bugatti sounds slightly too muted. Opulent components of standard equipment. Some surprising omissions, however. Options list not to the faint-hearted. For over £2 million, you'd expect your hypercar into the future fully rich in equipment. And the car inspectors sound suitably opulent. The sound system, by home audio company Equitone, uses real diamonds to use 4 tweeters, and also the oval Bugatti badge around the nose is constructed from 140 grams of silver. That said, there are several notable omissions from both standard equipment and options lists. There is no head-up display, by way of example, no large touch screen to the infotainment system, as well as the safety products are worse than it made available from some superminis. Pricey options. The prices for options that are offered, however, would horrify your average supermini buyer. If you wish the exposed carbon bodywork, that'll cost you a lot more than an entire supercar built by some other person, and if you desire to line the inner with carbon fiber as opposed to leather, that's a top-notch and hot hatch money. Whichever interior you opt for, incidentally, we'll advise adhering to dark-colored leather for your dashboard to stop bad reflections within the windscreen. Other options include different wheel designs, colored carbon fiber finishes and bespoke paintwork. Essentially, in case you've got enough money, plus your request is technically possible, Bugatti will comply, regardless of how tasteless they are your creation. Missing many safety items we overlook now, but exceptionally composed at high speed. Enormous braking performance. Let's be clear about the one thing: should you crash for the Chiron's 261 miles per hour top speed, you're going to obtain very hurt. In case you're doing it with a public road, there's any chance others will too. Given the performance capabilities, it's disappointing to discover that the Chiron lacks now commonplace safety equipment like lane departure assist and autonomous braking. But Bugatti adjusted to great lengths to make sure the Chiron is fundamentally strong, stable and capable of stop quickly. Active aerodynamics improve high-speed stability. Even beyond 200 miles per hour, the Chiron feels completely composed as a result of its active back and front spoilers, as well as the braking power is immense. Carbon ceramic discs are standard, gripped by 8-piston calipers at top and 6-piston calipers for the back. During testing to legalize your vehicle for sale, Bugatti was required to perform a crisis stop from over 250 miles per hour, so that you can be pretty confident they're going being up to your rigors of some traffic bunching for the M25. Carbon fiber strength, 6 airbags. Bugatti hasn't submitted the Chiron to Euro NCAP crash testing, but if the worst should happen so you do crash, It's comforting to know that this chassis and bodywork is constructed from carbon fiber, precisely the same material that protects F1 drivers from injury. There may also be 6 airbags, including a passenger airbag that is claimed to become the first ever to fireside through a carbon fiber housing. Bugatti reckons the 2-seater Chiron will be the ultimate grand tourer. This may be true in terms of the company's supernatural combination of comfort and speed, although not in terms of the company's boot. This is merely big enough for the modest aircraft cabin baggage suitcase, and while there may be some additional space behind the seats, the entire luggage capacity doesn't quite live to Bugatti's report that this is really a true GT car.